Hey guys, how you doing? I want to talk to you about shelter on a bug out or an SHTF scenario. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I'm going to be participating in a bug out bag test coming up soon. And I've really been thinking about the shelter part of it. You know, I love hammock camping. I'm still parts of it I'm trying to tweak. Haven't always got a good night's sleep in a hammock. I've been testing tent camping out, and I like that. So I've been wrestling with the question of which would I take in a bug out situation. Myself, if it was just me in a bug out or an SHTF scenario, a poncho would probably be my choice of shelter. The poncho is perfect for inclement weather. Throw it over you, throw it over your pack, keep going. If you do find a spot where you can only grab a few minutes rest, you still have the shelter over you. You're fighting the inclement weather. Get a little bit of sleep, get up and keep going. You can also turn around if you have the time and the opportunity. Use it as a tarp or a tent. Many uses for the poncho. I would use that as a solo, but I'm looking at the hammock and the tent, so I want to get back to this. First up, the hammock. First choice of many bushcrafters. Is a great piece of gear to have. If you get proficient at using one, they're very quick to set up, very quick to take down. The issue would be, and you'd run into it with a tent, is the time it takes to stuff the hammock back into its pouch. But one of the great pros I see of a hammock, besides the quick setup and tear down, is the visibility. And I don't mean being seen, because first off, this is not the one I would choose in a bug out or SHTF scenario. Too bright colored. Would not choose this at all. Would try something more of a camo or an earth tone colored hammock. But with a hammock, you can see approaching dangers. If somebody's coming up on your camp, it's easy enough to roll up out of the hammock and see. And bug net may slow you down, but quick enough to get out of the hammock to get in a defensive mode, if you would. One of the downfalls I would see with the hammock is that you do not know when and where you may have to set up to get a little bit of sleep. You may not be at your favorite park, your favorite piece of woods. Could be traveling through some prairie. Could be traveling through town. You may not have that opportune 2 trees at 15 feet to set this up. So that would be the one downfall I see with the hammock. Let's look at the tent. The one thing I would see is a lot of times a tent is fairly large in size. You can buy a smaller, lightweight, backpacking style tent. The pros that I would say with the tent is, again, if you get proficient and you get the right tent, it can be quick and easy to set up. The tent is perfect for any type of weather, any type of setup. As I mentioned with the hammock, you could be in a prairie setting without any trees. You could be in a urban setting. A tent can be set up just about anywhere, especially if it's a freestanding tent. Another pro of the tent, if you get one that's large enough, or you get one that somebody else in your party can carry, it's good coverage or shelter for somebody that's not necessarily skilled at being in the woods. And the bug out situation may be bad enough as it is. Yeah. You want to be part of this? Come on over here. Anyway, sorry about that. The tent would be perfect for somebody that's not accustomed to being in the woods. And a bug out SHTF scenario would be hard enough on them, let alone having to sleep out on the ground or in a hammock. So a tent would be perfect for that. If you have somebody, as I mentioned, that is not an outdoors person and they need to get indoors and you may need to be in there with them, it may be tight quarters. The other problem with the backpacking style tents, the visibility, as I mentioned with the hammock, is usually highly decreased. The windows so to speak, aren't there. They have a rain fly over them, so you can't see impending danger upon your camp area. And a lot of times, by the time you get up, unzip the door, and get out, you already have somebody upon you. So that would be a couple of the cons that I see of the tent as part of your bug out or SHTF scenario. Well, I've talked about the pros and the cons of both the tent and the hammock, and by far, that is not all the pros and cons of either of these pieces of gear. But I've touched on a few, and I know you're probably wondering, in a bug out situation or an SHTF, which one would I choose? You know, I'd already touched on that if I was bugging out by myself, solo, Poncho would probably be my choice. But if I had to choose between the hammock and the tent, if possible, I would choose both. And for that reason I was just talking about, I would carry the hammock for myself, but try to carry a tent for family members. Some of them, you know, may be shook up by what is happening in the world at the time and being in the woods. This would give them a little peace of mind, a little shelter from the world, if you would. So I would try to carry both if I could. The only thing that I would do is I would most likely carry this in my pack, and I would give this to somebody else in the pack to carry with them. Just in case we get separated, they are not without shelter, which means I need to spend some time showing them how to use this piece of gear. But I know this was quick and kind of rushed, but just something I've been dealing with, and I'd like to hear your thoughts and comments on that. If any of you would like to do a video and tell me what you think, you know, let me know. I'd like to see what you think about that. You know, if nothing else, leave some comments down below and give me your thoughts. Anyway, guys, hammock or tent in a bug out situation? Both. Thanks for watching.